Your paycheck hits your account on Friday. You promise yourself this month will be different. By the following Friday, half of it is already gone. You didn't buy anything reckless. You just spent it. But the real reason has nothing to do with willpower. Every year, people set the same goal: save more, spend less, build an emergency fund, and every year most of them fail. Not because they're careless, not because they don't understand math. Something deeper is happening every single time you open your banking app. For decades, the explanation was simple. You lack discipline. You need a better budget. You need more self-control. Financial gurus built entire careers on this idea. Cut the coffee. Track every dollar. Just try harder. It sounds reasonable. It also almost never works. Why do smart, capable people keep failing at something so basic? Here's where it gets interesting. In the 1970s, a researcher named George Ainsley started studying something strange about how humans make decisions over time. He found that people don't evaluate future rewards the way classic economic theory predicted. Give someone a choice between $10 today or $15 in a month, and many will grab the 10. But push both options a year further out. $10 in 12 months versus $15 in 13 months. And almost everyone waits for the 15. The math never changed. Only the timing did. This pattern is called hyperbolic discounting. Your brain doesn't discount the future evenly. It devalues it steeply the moment a reward is close enough to touch. A reward available right now feels enormous. The exact same reward, just a few weeks away, feels almost irrelevant. That's not a personality flaw. That's the architecture of your mind. Think about what that means for saving money. Your paycheck isn't just a number. It's a pile of right-now rewards standing next to a pile of someday rewards. And someday never stood a chance. The coffee, the takeout, the impulse purchase, they all win because they exist in the part of time your brain actually values. But this is still just the mechanism. It explains the pattern. It doesn't explain why the pattern exists in the first place. What causes your brain to treat the future so carelessly? In the early 2000s, a psychologist named Hal Hershfield ran an experiment that changed how researchers think about saving behavior entirely. He put people into brain scanners and asked them to think about themselves in the present, and then think about themselves 20 years from now. He expected some overlap in brain activity. What he found was something closer to a warning sign. When people thought about their future selves, the brain regions associated with self-identity lit up weaker. In many cases, the pattern of activity looked less like thinking about yourself and more like thinking about a stranger. Sit with that for a second. Your brain may not fully recognize your future self as you, not as an abstract idea, but at the level of actual neural activity. The person who will thank you for saving this money isn't experienced as you. They're experienced as someone else entirely, someone you've never met. Suddenly the whole picture shifts. You're not failing to save because you're weak. You're failing to save because you are, quite literally, prioritizing yourself over a stranger. And humans have never been especially good at sacrificing for strangers. Hershfield didn't stop at the discovery. He tested an intervention. He showed people age-progressed, digitally aged images of their own faces, letting them briefly look into the eyes of who they'd become. After seeing their future face, participants chose to allocate significantly more money toward retirement accounts. Just seeing an aged version of themselves was enough to shrink the psychological distance between me and future me. The stranger suddenly looked a little more familiar. This is the hidden layer. Saving money isn't primarily a math problem. It's an identity problem. Every time you choose to spend instead of save, you're not rejecting your future. You're simply failing to recognize it as belonging to you at all. But there's another layer underneath this one, and it explains why the problem gets worse, not better, in the modern world. In the late 1970s, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky developed prospect theory, one of the most cited frameworks in behavioral economics. Among its core findings, losses hurt roughly twice as much as equivalent gains feel good. Not spending money today doesn't register in your brain as protecting future you. It registers as an immediate loss. You are giving something up right now, in vivid present detail, to protect someone your brain barely recognizes, whose benefit is vague, distant, and abstract. Of course, the scale tips towards spending. You're comparing a sharp, certain pain against a foggy, uncertain gain. Now think about the world you're actually living in. Every subscription service, every one-click checkout, every buy now, pay later button was engineered by people who understand this bias intimately. They're not guessing. Companies run enormous behavioral experiments to find the exact design that minimizes the psychological loss of spending. Removing friction from checkout isn't a convenience feature. It's a direct exploitation of the gap between present you and future you. The easier it becomes to spend, the less your brain registers it as sacrificing anything at all. Credit systems work the same way, just inverted. They let you access someone else's future money today, converting a distant, abstract cost into an even smaller, more distant one. Minimum payments are practically engineered discounting machines. They shrink the visible cost of a purchase so far into the future that your brain barely registers a loss at all. You're not just fighting your own wiring anymore. You're fighting an entire economy built to profit from it. So where does that leave you? Not powerless. Once you understand that the obstacle isn't discipline, but distance, the entire strategy changes. Ainsley's research suggests that pre-committing to decisions before temptation appears, automatic transfers the moment your paycheck lands, works far better than relying on willpower in the moment. You're not trying to out-negotiate your present self. You're removing the negotiation entirely. Hirschfield's research suggests something else. Building a vivid, specific relationship with your future self. Not retirement, a vague, distant concept, but an actual imagined version of you. Older, living somewhere, needing something specific. The more real that person becomes to your mind, the less like a stranger they feel, and the easier it becomes to protect them. This is why generic advice like, just save more, so often fails. It's aimed at the wrong problem. It assumes the barrier is math, or motivation, when the barrier is actually psychological distance. You're not bad with money. You're bad at feeling connected to someone who technically shares your name, your memories, and your bank account, but who your own brain treats like a stranger you've never met. Every industry designed around modern spending has learned to weaponize this gap. But the moment you can see it, you can close it. Automate the choice before the moment of temptation arrives. Make your future self vivid enough that spending against them starts to feel like spending against someone you actually know. Your paycheck will hit your account again this Friday. And this time, you'll understand what's really happening the moment you open that app. It was never a battle against your own weakness. It was a battle against a stranger wearing your face, and now you finally know how to recognize him.